So, hey guys, my name is Jessica. I'll be your teacher for today. Um, I'm a senior CS student at University of Maryland. And for this lesson or for this class, I would just be like going through the intro to Java, just giving you a basic overview of like what this language is about, why you should learn Java. We won't be doing any programming for today, so don't worry about all of that. And let me see. Oh yeah, if you have any questions, feel free, like if you're comfortable, unmute and just like ask away. Otherwise, you can also just ask in chat and I'll try my best to answer. All right, so again, for today's lesson, all we'll really be doing is just going over a basic overview of the course, like what you'll be learning and what to expect for this course. Next, just like what is Java, why do you want to learn Java? Finally, like setting up our IDE. Basically, we're using Replit for this class, so just learning how to make an account and how to like start a Java program. Finally, kind of a workshop, more like a demo of like what Java looks like. Um, and then tips for learning a programming language, and finally, any helpful links. So first off, just wondering how many of you are um, wanting to take like the AP exam? All right, so basically this course is sweet. So this course is basically following the general AP curriculum. However, like if you aren't planning to take like the AP exams or you are an AP student, don't worry, this is still pretty accessible to beginners. Um, and like I said, it's designed to basically prep AP students for exams. So we'll give you like example FRQ and multiple choice questions. If you aren't planning to take the AP exams, we do have questions that are geared more for beginners. Again, it follows the AP CSA curriculum. Um, don't worry about like having to be good at math. You don't need to be good at math to honestly learn most programming languages, unless they're like specifically geared towards math. So don't worry about like, oh, I haven't taken like calculus or anything, so can I learn Java? You can still learn Java. In the future, we'll try to have separate breakout rooms that are like more specifically for AP review, and other breakout rooms that are geared for beginners. And yeah, so the general overview of the course is basically today is just a basic introduction. Eventually, you'll learn how to like use objects, do like Boolean statements, iteration, writing classes. We also have one lesson about arrays and working with array lists. Finally, inheritance, recursion, and then a final project, just to show how much you guys have learned. It seems like a lot, but don't worry. These are all we'll try our best to like get you guys learn it. And yeah, next. So first off, what is Java? Java is a pretty old programming language, originally developed by Sun Microsystems, and now it's being maintained by this company called Oracle. Um, it's it's basically a language that's centered around classes. So everything in Java is basically a class. Um, we'll like get to explaining all this later, so don't worry if you're not too sure about it. And because it's a language that is basically all classes, it's super good for learning object-oriented programming. And Java is kind of like the object-oriented language. Finally, Java is a compiled language that runs on a Java virtual machine, which basically means that in order to run Java on your computer, you have to download a compiler called a JVM. And there are several different versions out there. Some are free, some are paid, but you have to download one of these to be able to run Java. Because these JVMs are basically what's going to translate Java into something that the computer can read. So next, why learn Java? Java is, like I said, it's the object-oriented programming language. So the most important part of why you should learn Java is that it's really good for learning the fundamentals of object-oriented programming. And this is like a skill and sort of a concept that you kind of have to you kind of need to learn other languages too. And on a more practical level, Java is like used to create a lot of things. So like there are games that are created in Java. If I recall correctly, Minecraft like just recently um, refactored their code base to be in Java. You can also even like make mobile apps. So a lot of Android apps are actually made in Java. And there's like so much more. Like you can make entire programs that are really complex just in Java itself. And finally, it's a great beginner language. A lot of college courses actually use Java as their sort of intro to programming classes. So like for University of Maryland, our first language, like my first language was actually Java. And it's compared to like other languages, the concepts and like the sort of the skills you need to learn Java are pretty low. So there's first off, there's a low barrier of entry, and also there's a lot of really helpful online resources that you can basically use to learn Java. So for this class, we're using this website called Replit to basically run all our code on. So the reason we're using Replit is that it's very accessible. You don't really need like to download anything to use Replit. And also it's pretty easy to like create an account and get like all the access to the code. Finally, all of our demos will be on Replit, so it makes it easier for us to share it with you. But if you want to create code locally, there are several different platforms that you can use to develop Java. First off, you have like, for example, you have BlueJ, IntelliJ IDEA, or VS Code. The really big one, or the really big IDE is Eclipse, and you also have NetBeans. Again, some of these are free, some of these not so free, but if you're interested in like in sort of being able to save your code to your disk, these are the IDEs you can look out for. So for today, we aren't really gonna have you do any coding, but I'm gonna show you how to make a Replit account. So first off, when you go to Replit, you're gonna see this. You just click on sign up. You can log in through like Google, GitHub, or Facebook, but in case you don't want to, you can just make a username, enter your email. This is a fake email account, but it's okay. And then make a password, and then just click sign up. Any questions? All right. Also, like, again, if you guys have any questions about like what I was talking about earlier, feel free to ask. All right, so let me log into my real Replit account, or my actual Replit account. And then I'll also show you guys how to just make what is an IDE? Is an acronym that stands for Integrated Development Environment. So it's basically an app or a desktop application that allows you to create code. So for example, Eclipse will allow you to like open a file and basically like create your own Java program in like on your own computer instead of like online. So you can think about it sort of like Microsoft Word or like Microsoft Office, but for like coding. Yep. So now just going to share my screen again. Sweet. So now I'm in my own Replit account. So if you ever want to create code, you can just go to create, um, click this plus button. You can choose like Java. And I'm going to call this cool Java app. Press enter and it'll open sort of an environment like this, where on the left-hand side, you have your files. On the right, this is sort of like where everything will print. So this first program is just the Hello World program. Again, like I said, Java is always like everything in Java is a class. So even your main function is sort of wrapped in the class called main. And in Java, you have this really long main function that will explain like what all this means later. But right now, the main function is public static void main string args. And this is sort of where your program starts. So what this program will do is it will just print out hello world. And you can test it by clicking run. Java will first compile, and then after a few seconds, it should print out hello world. And then over here, you have files. You can even like download packages, which is pretty cool for Replit. And then finally, so for this course, we'll be sharing a lot of demo code. And just a very important heads up. So basically, whenever we share code and you sort of want to play with it or change it, make sure you click fork before you do anything with code. So basically, make sure you always fork before you like edit any demo code. Any questions about that? All right. So let me just do this and get back to the presentation. So finally, I'll just be going over like some tips that I have for just learning a programming language. So in basically in college, like you have to, it's like in programming in general. So what does fork do? Fork is basically it basically will create your own copy of the code. So if I give you like a demo link and you look at it, it's sort of like it's kind of like Google Docs where we're sort of looking at the same thing. So the issue if you don't fork before you change code is like I'll be like doing a demo or something, and then if you like delete a line, then it'll happen to my code too, which can cause a lot of problems. Or like for example, another teacher might change the code while I'm typing, which will be an issue. So basically, what like you should fork before you change code so that anything you change on your side won't show up on my side. So yeah, yep. And moving on, so just like some tips for learning languages. First off, practice. So always like when we're like going through demos, just play with the code. Don't be afraid of breaking anything. So make sure like first off, whenever I'm doing demos, you know how that code works. Second off, learn how to start like making your own programs. So fork all the demos, and then you can even just like make little changes, see what happens. Second off, Google is your friend. Don't be afraid of like, oh, is this cheating, or like I can't copy code. Just like don't be afraid of just copying other people's code. If you have like if you're running into issues, Google first. Hopefully, like especially with Java, there's really good online support. So if you have an error, probably someone else has has already had that error before, and someone has a solution for it. Just like be careful when you're copying code, because don't just copy and paste blindly without understanding what's going on in that code. What I find really helpful is that whenever I see someone's code online and I want to use it, I don't just Control C, Control V and call it a day. I'll actually type it out and just go through their code and try to understand like what's going on and why they like made these decisions. First off, like not everyone's code online is perfect. There might be some bugs that you can catch. And second off, it's sort of a learning experience for you. So like you can see sort of someone else's logic of why they made code this way. Second off, this is more of a test taking tip. So pay attention to details. I wouldn't call like a lot of questions on exams sort of trick questions, but there's like a certain logic behind certain pieces of code. And if you don't pay attention to small details, you might get tripped up. Lastly, diagrams are very helpful. So when eventually we'll be learning things like about classes, subclasses, and inheritance. And it's always very helpful to draw class diagrams. This is very important, especially when we get to like more complex topics like inheritance and polymorphism and stuff like that. That way, like that, it just allows you to sort of organize everything visually. And then finally, I'll be posting all these links in chat, so don't worry about like having to screenshot or anything. These are just a list of resources that we've compiled that are things you can refer to sort of help you learn Java. First off is Geeks for Geeks, which is a really good tutorial site, and they have really extensive like articles about anything you want to learn in Java. Second is just a YouTube channel with Java tutorials. We also have like the College Board CSA playlist. W3 School is kind of like Geeks for Geeks, where it's a bunch of Java tutorials. Finally, like if you want to apply like everything we learned here, HackerRank is pretty good for just doing practice problems. Also, like HackerRank gives you sort of example interview questions that you might see when you're trying to like get a job in programming. And then also for AP students, there's also like a whole bunch of examples of FRQs and multiple choice questions. So any questions about what we just talked about? Or like anything Java related, to be honest. Sweet. So, also, I'm gonna first just drop a Discord invite to the GirlsCodeIt Discord. That way, if you guys have any questions like outside of class or like just about anything, you can just ask us directly on Discord. So can you tell us some ways people use it, applications? So an example of a Java application, like if you're familiar with Minecraft, that the entire like people have Minecraft is basically coded in Java. Also, a lot of Android apps are also in Java. So for example, I did an Android app that will basically recognize like facial expressions using computer vision machine learning. And it'll like put an emoji, like if you're smiling, it'll put a smiling emoji, or if you're frowning, it'll put an angry emoji. That was all in Java. Other ways, so Java has a really strong graphic UI library. So like people make like a lot of companies will actually make like internal tools using Java. So for example, my parents are both computer programmers and they just use Java to make a bunch of web apps and that sort of stuff. And let me think if I'm missing anything else. But that's mostly it. Like it's mostly used for like a lot of internal tools for companies. Android development is both in Java and Kotlin. Also, yeah, and even like games like Minecraft. Do you need to know JavaScript to know Java? No, you don't need like any. You don't need to know any other language to know Java, and that's actually like what's so great about Java is that like you don't need any like prior programming experience or anything to be able to learn Java. I would actually say that you need to know a little bit of Java to know JavaScript because JavaScript is a scripting language that's based on Java. So I would say like more like the other way around than like, yeah. And then I'm going to start dropping the resources links in chat. Feel free to like just ask any questions or like any of that while I'm dropping these. All right. Oh yeah, finally, for this class, we also have a feedback form that if you want to fill out, it's really important that like me and like the rest of the teachers know like how we're doing so that we can sort of adjust our teaching styles so that you can learn the most. So please fill out the feedback form. Otherwise, let me just show this. Otherwise, we also have a website, GirlsCodeIt.org. And we also have, if you have any questions that you want to email to us, we're available at education@girlscodeit.org. We also have an Instagram, GirlsCodeItPB. And then I'll drop the Discord. I can drop the Discord invite again. If I remember correctly, we'll also be posting slides on Discord, which is why you should join. Also, if you want to talk to me directly, I can also drop my but otherwise that's kind of it for our lesson today. Thank you so much for coming.